Pake's been in America, hasn't he? It's quite far to travel, that. But anyway, yeah, as in the whole.
Well, he hasn't swam back.
No.
He's only come on a plane.
No, but you think about jet lag and
I suppose so.
the whole
Yeah. Imagine how fit he would be. Blimey.
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. And now the international break is over, we can finally get back to Championship football, where Birmingham City travel to the Bet365 this weekend to take on Stoke City. Now, both teams have had a good start to the season, but we both come into this off the back of defeats. Of course, Birmingham losing to Leicester and Stoke losing to West Brom. So both teams are going to want to get that winning momentum straight off the back of the international break. And in this video, as all of our pre-match videos, we're going to discuss the teams, what our lineups be, maybe a score prediction, and give our thoughts on what we might expect from the game. So, Dad, we travelled to Stoke this weekend. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the form of both clubs. Early days, isn't it? But both of us have started well. Stoke started slightly better, as you've mentioned. Won their first 3 games, and we in that batch of wins was an away win at Southampton, which I think surprised quite a few people, including myself, because Southampton are heavily fancied to do well. So whatever Mark Robbins is doing or has started to implement at that club, it does appear that there's the green shoots of recovery there, because they've been so inconsistent over recent seasons, which makes this a really tough game, because as you mentioned, both teams lost their last game, didn't they?
They did. We tend to do quite well at the Bet365 over recent years. We've done all right there, and obviously me and you were there. We referenced this in the video that went out earlier in the week, Dad, when we spoke about our next 5 games. Could have been yesterday, actually, but we won 2-1 there in the season, that we went down under Tony Mowbray.
Yeah.
Of course, it was a Stansfield goal and then a Bakuna free kick, and then they they scored late on in the game to make it a bit of a nervous ending, didn't they?
Yeah.
But, Stoke are having a good start to the season. What really makes me laugh, Dad, is, and Blues fans know this now, I tend to do my research a lot as well on the fan pages and get a sense of the vibe of the club and the fans and where they're going. And it just reminded me of Blues to some extent. So clearly, I think every club goes through this. Obviously, they've got 9 points out of 12, but the last game they lost against West Brom, the doomsdayers were right in there in the Stoke section. All the wheels are falling off. What's happened? But the logical fans were going, look, guys, we would have took 9 points out of 12 from the start of the season.
Yeah.
We're looking good. Mark Robbins is finally starting to get his stamp on the side, and I think that's my biggest compliment / observation of Stoke, that is they're playing like a team now that has a real identity, that Mark Robbins identity, and we all know Mark Robbins takes a little bit of time to put his stamp on the club and the stamp on his team. Even at Coventry, it took him a little time to get going, and he went on he got them back into the Championship. In fact, a penalty kick away from the Premier League in the end. But what I'm seeing with Stoke now, Dad, is as you mentioned in your opening comment as well, they've really got that Mark Robbins stamp on them at the moment, which I'm sure Stoke fans are very happy to see.
Yeah, and we saw them season before last again, where Stephen Schumacher was their manager. I mean, they have changed managers fairly regularly up until obviously Mark Robbins has recently came in, and I think it was Naresh Pelesh was the manager that Mark Robbins replaced, and he was very much, from what I saw, because even though he was in League One last season, I watched quite a bit of Championship football. Stoke were on Sky quite often, and they did try and play a possession-based type of football like we do. To an extent, Mark Robbins has been a little bit more cautious with them. So I think what he's tried to do, which I think he's actually done, he's tried to stabilise them, because they were in trouble when he went there last season. They was in the mix, weren't they, to in the relegation battle. But I think he's stabilised them. But you can see by the start of this season, they're the second highest goal scorers already. I know it's only 4 games, I get that, but obviously Coventry, third highest actually, because Coventry are way ahead with 14 goals scored in 4 games. Bristol City next 9, then Stoke 8. So they've scored 4 more goals than us. So they're definitely potent up front. And they've got the 4th best defence as well. They've only conceded 3. And you can see that the defeat against West Brom was a very narrow one. So clearly there's things that Mark Robbins will be very pleased about there. And you mentioned about social media. It does make me smile, because it's the same with all football fans.
Of course it is.
You win a game, the world's bright, and you lose a game, and all of a sudden it's not so bright. And that's just the journey of the roller coaster of being a football fan. Isn't it?
It's like when we lose, Dad, like when we lost to Port Vale and then Leicester, we knew, even when we walked back to the car after the games, we say to each other as a joke, don't we, the comment section tomorrow's going to be interesting, because we know and also as well, I kind of see it as a compliment. I think people use our channel, and we use our channel as well, as kind of a bit of a release, just to let it out. And I think people use the comments there, and I think that's a great thing. I think we often, describe ourselves as a podcast for the fans, and if people can just let it out in the comments, that's what it's about, really, isn't it? And no opinion's wrong. That's the whole point of having an opinion is that,
Yeah.
you might disagree and have different, we all see things differently, but ultimately football fans, Dad, when you lose a game, it's automatically the world is impending doom, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I must admit, I'm quite a positive-ish person when it comes to football, but when you do lose, it does ruin your weekend, and
Oh, it does.
it really does get to you.
The journey home from Leicester on the coach, it was awful, wasn't it?
And
Leicester,
Port Vale.
Leicester's not that far away, and losing to Port Vale.
Even a home game, though, the walk to the car from a home game.
Port Vale, in my mind, I obviously don't lose to Port Vale, of course you don't, but in my mind, I thought, well, we're out the cup and. It's a cup game, but the league feel it hurts more for me. The league, it hurts more if we lose.
Same.
But we need to get back to winning ways now. Interestingly, from what I've seen, Stoke play a very similar system to us, 4-2-3-1. That's what Mark Robbins favours. So again, it's going to be a little bit like Leicester. So they will match us, or we'll match them, vice versa. And it's going to be who wins their battles, isn't it? Because of the way that the teams are set up. In current form, this is last 10 games. So this will be going back to the 6 league games from last season and 4 this season. Stoke have won 5, drawn 2 and lost 3. We've won 7, drawn 2 and lost just the one, which was against Leicester. And people would argue that our games, most of them are in League One, but that's just the current form on both teams. Winning breeds confidence in the league, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Stoke play or like to attack down the right. They've got a not a dominance down the right, but their preferred side is to attack down the right. They'd like to cross. It's interesting when you look at the style of play of particularly teams in the Championship. A lot of teams are set up in exactly the same way. So either attacking, most of them like Stoke, predominantly down the right, but a lot of them like to get crosses in as well. And I hope we do that more as well, because that's been our issue, particularly in the last couple of games, is that we've not, when they had the opportunity, we haven't played the ball in. We've tried to pass sides and try and probe and get through. I know Chris Davis favours that on occasions, but I think that we just need to learn to cross a little bit more often.
I do agree, but whenever we do cross, there's no one there. So the point of me saying that isn't a negative to counter your argument. It's just me saying that if we cross the ball but no one's there, it's pointless. So we have to work on that attacking dynamic to get people in the box. But are we that kind of team?
Interestingly, Matt, did you watch the England game last night against Serbia?
I didn't actually.
I did, and as we know, England won 5-0.
Yeah,
it was actually quite a good performance. A real surprise, because you normally watch England and think, oh, this is going to be a pretty bland. But it was good. But the reason I'm mentioning it is because what I noticed about England is that they allowed Serbia. They did press, but they allowed them slightly high up the pitch, so just between the 6-yard line and the centre circle, they allowed them to come to, and then they pressed from there. Now, what that allowed was space in the back, because what I've seen with Blues, we press so high, almost to their 6-yard box. It doesn't allow any space behind there, so if you've got runners. So, therefore, if we were to adopt that type of style of play where we still did our aggressive press, but we just allowed them a little bit more space forward to give us more room at the back, I think that would suit us more. Because I watched England yesterday and I'm thinking, that's what Blues should do. It's
like Chris Davis presses aggressively. Do you know who else was really guilty of it? Well, Ange Postecoglou. He pressed so high with such a high line. Postecoglou, I can never pronounce his name. But Tottenham just got caught out so much out the back.
He just got Nottingham Forest today.
He has, but the point of it is, if you press too high, you can create gaps behind you, can't you? That's the trade-off and the caveat to pressing too high. I quite like that idea, the idea of giving a bit of space, but then pressing, as you said, kind of opens up gaps.
Keep control of them by pressing, so that you don't give them the ability to keep the ball, but just allow them slightly higher, which would make up more room at the back then when you actually break the press. And particularly now we've got like players like Patrick Roberts, that will run into space. So
and Kyogo's making loads of runs, but just not picking him out.
He will come good. He will. I know.
I guarantee he will.
I'm absolutely sure that once he starts to get the right service, 100%. He's going to bag a load of goals this season. I really, honestly believe that. I just think at the moment we are just adapting and just learning about each other, and I think that once that clicks, that's going to be a really good source of goals for us, Kyogo.
I agree, Dad. But just to give a little bit of feedback from Stoke as well, from what I've seen, what they do very well, I've seen a couple of goals this season, right? They steal the ball really high up the pitch, but then when they steal it, they swarm up in numbers. I think one of the goals against Southampton, or maybe it was one of the ones against Derby, they just took the ball off them like in their third. It was a bit like, when Stansfield gets on a mad run when he's doing his defence and he just nicks the ball. A bit like Charlton at home when he nicked the ball off the side, ran in and scored. I've seen a couple of moments for Stoke where they're very good at nicking the ball, but when they do, it's like Mark Robbins has instructed all out attack and go, and they really get up the pitch in numbers. So they're very good at turning the ball over in your own half if you're not concentrating or careful. So something to be aware of. And I have seen them go quite direct at times as well. If you look at some of the goals against Sheffield Wednesday and some of the goals against Derby, they're getting balls in the box and they're going quite direct. Like, there's a couple of goals against Sheffield Wednesday where they literally went centre half or centre mid all the way over the top. I mean, really poor defending from Sheffield Wednesday, but they can go quite direct as well, so something to be wary of. But that is a strategy of theirs which I've seen, and I'm not knocking it. They've scored a couple of goals from it, so you play to your strengths, don't you?
Yeah.
And as I say, Mark Robbins, Dad, even in the post-match conference against West Brom, he was talking about tactical discipline, balance, work rate, and I think they're the kind of things he feeds on to get his team playing to the optimum. And I think Mark Robbins, again, Dad, I throw him in that category of a manager who's very good at getting a team to play to their strengths and doing well at it. And, some people get really defensive around when you use the word, approach. Wrexham fans come to mind. When you say that Wrexham play a direct approach, for some reason they get very defensive about it. But if you're good at it, who cares?
You have to play.
You have to play to your team's strengths 100%. And I think Mark Robbins has definitely got them compact. He's got them set up well, disciplined. I think they will try and control the game, but if that doesn't work, they have no problem taking a bit more of a direct approach. And that's what Mark Robbins gives you. It's a pragmatic approach, isn't it? Yeah,
it is, and they've got a lot of experience in that side as well. We mentioned Victor Johansson in the
Great player.
Plus video. Their goalkeeper, very very experienced and a good goalkeeper. Although he was culpable for the West Brom goal.
He was. A rare mistake.
Defence, the back line, they're up to Ben Wilmot and Cresswell. Lewis Baker in midfield as well. Again, good experienced professionals. Sorba Thomas, we mentioned, he especially starts off on their left.
He does.
And up front, Mubama, who's their number 9. And they've got that South Korean chap, is it Jae-ho?
In the 10?
In the 10,
yeah. They've got another bloke just behind, Tatsuki Seko as well.
Seko, yeah. Well, he plays in the midfield with Baker. He does. So again, we're not going to do many of these preview videos, Matt, in the Championship teams and find not good players in there, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
But so every team has its threats, and Stoke have got theirs, and we'll need to be wary.
What I will say, Dad, in terms of weaknesses, this isn't just me referencing it because they conceded a goal against West Brom. I think set pieces could be an opportunity, but as we all know as Blues fans, we need to get stronger at our set pieces, don't we? Attacking and defending, in my opinion, because I think for some time now we haven't been as effective converting them, and we do sometimes look vulnerable defending them. So just set pieces for me is a comment I want to get out there. I think we need to be a good set piece coach either side of the pitch for me, for Blues. But this is definitely something we could look to exploit from Stoke. And I think it's going to be a bit of a chess match. I think originally it might be who can win the possession game in terms of the teams knocking it about, and then we might find in the second half, I think Stoke might go a bit more direct because they're at home. So they're going to want to win this, as we are as well. But as the home team, we all know you pick up your points at home, don't you?
I remember again going back to that game when we played them last time when we were there in the second half. They were really aggressive against us. We were 2-0 up, and they really came out. Stephen Schumacher was their manager, and they were really really aggressive. And if they play to that intensity, we're going to need to be right on our game to manifest, to stop them from doing that.
I think the biggest thing we have to be wary of, in my opinion, is their ability to transition. A bit like what I just mentioned, when they steal the ball up high, they swarm up in numbers. If you get caught out and they catch you, they will swarm in numbers as well. So it's just something we have to be wary of. When they do attack, they will come forward with numbers, especially being the home team. But I think we've got.
Here's a question for you before we go on to the Blues. Who was their top scorer last season? Did you find it in your research?
Top goal scorer last season?
Yeah, for
Peter
Stoke.
Crouch.
No, he was a crossbar.
I have no idea, Dad.
But believe it or not, it was Tom Cannon.
Oh, okay.
But he was.
Didn't he go back off loan in January?
That's what I'm saying. He scored 11 goals, and in January he went to Sheffield United, didn't he? On loan, I think. So
that's an odd move when teams do that.
Yeah, and then Milian Manhoef was their second highest score with 7.
I like
Lewis
him.
Baker with 7. Who was fourth? Lewis Kumas.
Was he? Yeah. There you go.
With 6 goals, and we know where he is now. So they, no doubt they'll be a tough I think any away fixture in the Championship is going to be easy, but we do need to, compete and pick up points on the road. And this is a game that I think we've really got to sort of impose ourselves on. So
Agree, Dad.
Do you fancy going to the Blues?
Yeah, let's do it. So
now this will be interesting because now that the transfer window's closed, we sort of know who's in our squad now, don't we?
Exactly.
We'll go.
You go for defence and keeper, Dad, and I'll do midfield.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm toying with a bit of this actually, but I just looked at Chris Davies's press conference pre Stoke just before we came out tonight, and when we come on to the forwards, he said that Stano is close. Didn't say he was definite, but he said he was close.
That's mind games though, to keep Stoke on their toes, isn't it?
Yeah.
That to me says he might play.
And he said Dimmy's going to be, because obviously Dimmy had that shoulder against Leicester. He said he seems okay as well.
Good.
But what he did mention is some of the lads who have been away in international duty, see how they are. They've got a training session tomorrow, so obviously lots of Paik and
Samuel
who have travelled. But I'm going to pick my team based upon the fact that they're available. Now I'm obviously going to go for Allsop in goal. I am going to go for Osoy Samuel as right back, and I'm going to go for Laird as left back. Right.
Okay.
But in the middle, I'm going for definitely Clara, and I wonder whether Robinson will come in instead of Neumann.
Interesting.
To start. I don't know whether that will be the case, but Neumann against Leicester, he's just adapting to the game, because I actually think we got a great signing in Neumann, but I think he needs maybe a little bit of time just to adapt, and whether or not he'll bring in the experienced Robinson and then put Robinson on the left side of the two centre halves and shift Clara over to the right. That is an option, so I'm going to plump for that. So I'm going to go for Allsop, Osoy Samuel, Clara, Robinson, and Laird.
See, I don't think he will rotate it. I think the centre half and the base spine of the team it's only just starting to take shape and settle, isn't it? So I think if you shift it too early, and we do know Neumann, it looks like he's still adapting to English football, doesn't he? If you switch it around too often or too soon, I don't think that might help the problem. I've gone for Allsop in goal as well, Dad. I've gone for Cochrane left back. I've gone for the centre halves the same. I've gone for Clara on the left side, Neumann on the right side, and I've gone for Laird at right back. Only because I think he might rest Osoy Samuel. Yeah. If Osoy Samuel is fit and the physios are happy and Chris Davies is happy, I think we could see Osoy Samuel right back. But I'm going to plump for a little bit of a rest after his international break.
I'd sell for either of those back lines, yours or mine.
Same. That's the thing.
I think that's the good thing now with the options we have. I mean, that either one of those is perfect.
What's interesting, Dad, we've got three. We don't normally disagree very much. There's 3 changes in there from both our sides. Just to confirm your back line, Dad, go for it again.
So my back line is Allsop in goal, Soy Samuel on the right, Laird on the left, and I've gone for Clara and for Robinson, Jack Robinson.
So I've gone for Allsop in goal, Cochrane left back, Laird right back, Clara left side centre back, and Neumann centre back as well.
Okay.
So that brings into the midfield, Dad. And the same as Osoy Samuel, I think Paik might get rested. So I've gone for Iwata and Tommy Doyle.
Okay.
I've gone for Damari Gray on the left.
Yeah.
I've gone for Dukes in the 10, only because Stansfield. Well, actually, no, sorry. If Stansfield fit and Chris Davies is happy, it'll be Stansfield. With Patrick Roberts on the right, feeding into Kyogo in the 9.
Okay, so I've got similar, but I have got some differences as well. So I've gone for Paik and Iwata in the 6s. And I agree, that could change if Chris Davies deems that he needs...
Because Paik's been in America, hasn't he? It's quite far to travel, that. But anyway, as in the whole... Well,
he hasn't swam back.
No, but you think about jet lag and...
Oh, yeah, I suppose so,
the whole... Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine how fit he would be, blimey. So I've gone for Paik and Iwata in the 6s. I've gone for Gray on the left, Roberts on the right, Patrick Roberts on the right, and I've gone for Stano in the 10, feeding into Kyogo.
Yeah. I think if Stansfield's fit, he will be the 10, but I'm assuming that there may be a niggle there, and if there is, I think Dukes might take the 10. Is it Dukes or Dukes? Who is it again?
It's Dukes.
Dukes, okay.
I'd like to see him start, I would, Dukes. I haven't gone for him, and I accept that. People say, what are you talking about? You haven't put him in your team. But I would like to see him in the starting lineup and see how he gets on.
But it's no disrespect to Dukes, Dad, but I've put him in thinking that Stansfield might not be ready. But if Stansfield is ready, I think you're right. I think he could take that 10 position. But either way, Dad, same as the back line, I am happy with either one of our selections, if I'm honest, because I think we've swapped we've swapped Paik and Doyle. Doyle's an exceptional player if Paik isn't available. Because I think at the minute, with the way the season is, I think Paik and Iwata are Chris Davies' number 1 choices for those number 6s. Yeah. We could see Tommy Doyle in the 10 as well. Didn't think about that either.
Well, but that's the thing I was going to mention. Tommy Doyle could play in any midfield, central midfield, or he could play in the number 10. He could, but If Stano is fit, and it seems that Chris Davies wants to play Stano and Kyogo in the same team, but we've also got Dux as well that will probably be the number 9, wouldn't he? In fact, he would be the number 9, Dux. No, he could
can play 10. He is a 9, I think, traditionally, but he can play. It's a bit like Chuba Akpom, he can play in the 10. No, but I'm just relating to a player who can play in the 10. But yeah, no, I'd love to see Dukes get a start as well, Dad. But I must admit, I think if Stanos is ready, he will play. And what I will say on that as well is, against Leicester, we really miss Stano's energy, I think. That press, that non-stop running.
We could go back on the Leicester game, Matt, because now obviously none of us have mentioned Williamson in the starting lineup, because you won't with Patrick Roberts in the team now. And what that signing has done, it's allowed us to fit the round pegs in the round holes, because I think Chris Davies wanted to put Williamson on the right to get him in the team. But now that we've got Patrick Roberts, we now have pace. And that was the issue against Leicester, is that Williamson, we know that he's not a right winger and he hasn't got the level of pace, but Patrick Roberts has. But that frees up then the other positions as well. So I think that we've got loads of great options now, and we've got great options off the bench as well. I do look at that squad and I think like say, okay, cool, we need to get Doyle in there as well. Where are you going to put him? Where are you going to put him? The only option which I think is a good shout from you is you could have Doyle if Paik is rested. Put Doyle and
I think that might happen. But again, I'm not a physio. I have no idea what Paik's fitness is, what the guys behind the scenes are thinking. But even if there's a little bit of fatigue there, even if he's 80% not 100 or 90 not 100, and Tommy Doyle's on 100, I'd rather see Tommy Doyle, because away from home against Stoke, big game, I want all guns blazing against this. Even if a player is not quite, and it's through no fault of anyone. You're on international duty. You have every right to play for your international club. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that, fitness-wise, we need all guns blazing here.
Yeah, I think so. So do you want to give a score prediction then?
Yeah, so I think this will be a low scorer. I was tempted with a stalemate, but I am going to put a few goals in there. I'm going to go for Stoke 1, Birmingham 1.
Okay, I've gone for Stoke 1, Birmingham 2. Same repeat of the result that last time we were there. I think we've got enough to win this. I'd say, not disputing the fact, everything we've said, we know they're a good quality team, but I think we can win this one. And I've gone for 2-1 victory for the Blues.
I thought we could win at Leicester as well.
Yeah, so did I.
I think I always back us to win.
I predicted a draw at Leicester, but I'd have settled for that after the result.
Exactly,
but I am going for a win for us here. And
I hope you're right.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
I hope you're right, Dad. And I think, there's something about the way they've got off to their start. Stoke, Mark Robbins is in charge. They're very compact now. They're very settled. I think by the way, I'll back you. I think we have enough to win this game.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling it's going to be a draw. And I'll be happy with a draw. We said 7 points for our next 5 games, didn't we? That's another one on the list if we draw it. But hopefully, Dad, you're the winner this week and we get all 3 points.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we close the video?
No, again, just another great fit. Just reminds me of how fantastic it is to be back in the Championship. We're looking at these games and week after week now, playing good quality teams, and I'm just glad to be here and finding our way a little bit and get some points on the board. And let's just keep the momentum going.
I mean, maybe I'm on my own on this one, but I can't stand the international breaks. I'm not a huge fan of international football. It's great to have the Championship back. Even if Blues are playing on a Friday or we're not playing that weekend, I just love the domestic.
You're not on your own. I think when you look at social media, that's all over social media.
Yeah, I just love the domestic English leagues. There's nothing better than looking on your phone. You've got a whole lot of 3:00 Saturday games kicking off. You just think, oh yes, we're in the money here.
Yeah.
But as always, Birmingham City supporters, we would love to hear from you. Maybe you're a Stoke City supporter and you've stumbled across this video. Maybe you saw your team's badge on the thumbnail. Please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below as well. And if you did like this video specifically, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page, we have an Instagram page, and we're also over on Spotify, so you can listen and watch us over there. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and press that bell icon so you get notified every time we post. And myself and Dad will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.